Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Ken, and today we're here to rank the opening sequences of the Final Destination franchise.
Yes.
Which there are 6 of.
There are 6, and yeah. I feel like this is going to be fun.
It is going to be fun. And just want to let you guys know, we just reviewed Bloodlines on the channel. If you haven't yet checked out our spoiler-free review of Final Destination Bloodlines.
Kind of spoiler free.
Go check it out. Well, yeah, it's
always
spoiler
kind
free.
of spoiler free.
But this, we might get into spoilers here and there, especially if you haven't seen any of these movies. So I do want to put that warning out there for sure as well. But before we get into it, also hit the subscribe button and
like the video.
Like the video, like she said, and then feel free in the comment section below if you've seen all 6 Final Destination films. Rank the openings yourself in the comment section.
Yeah.
We would enjoy to hear everybody's perspective.
Yeah.
Ranking. Yeah.
Okay. So I think if you are a fan of the franchise, you know that the opening sequence, is a big part of the movie.
For sure.
Okay?
I'd say it's the selling point.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
When you go see one, there's going to be some big, dreamlike chain of events that happens that starts the whole death.
The premonition.
The death is coming for you. I thought it would be fun to sit down and just rank these. So we're gonna do from worst to best. Okay.
Yeah, and naturally, to be clear, we're not ranking the films. We are ranking the opening sequences.
The opening sequences.
There may be some, movies that I don't like as much as others that rank higher, just because I think the opening sequences are better.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's see here. There are 6.
There are
6. And so I'll just go first. So my number 6 is going to be the race car. Race car scene sequence.
I'll say it. I'll say it too. Then my number 6 is the race car sequence.
Okay, and that is from movie number 4.
That is the Final Destination. So in this case, the worst movie does have the worst opening sequence.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Those align in this case.
Yeah, so, the race car sequence, it's not that I don't think that is it's not that I think that it's a bad idea or whatever. Me just naturally being, someone who worries a lot and who does think, worst case scenarios, I definitely have thought about that before. And, I'm sure it's happened in real life, too, where, cars go off the track and whatever. But this one, of course, in Final Destination style, it's very, extreme and everything.
I think it plays on just the wide audience's fears a little bit less, because maybe a lower percentage will find themselves at a NASCAR race versus, on a bridge, on a plane, driving, so I think it kind of doesn't tap into those primal fears that a lot of people have in the same way. So
yeah,
that's why I would put it dead last. And I just think it's kind of poorly executed, mostly because of the 3D and just everything looks so CGI.
Yeah,
in that opening sequence,
the CGI is really bad, and I feel like out of all of them, the way that some of the deaths happen in that opening sequence, they feel very cartoonish.
Yeah, like the tire popping the girl's head off, and
there's just
wasn't there a sequence where 2 people got cut in half and they're just like, oh, and then they
I don't know.
fall over.
Yeah, it was just it was a little bit different. Final Destination does do really extreme, outlandish things.
Reminds me of Who Framed Roger Rabbit for a little bit.
Yeah, there was something about this one, and I think like you said, because they were trying out the 3D thing of it, we weren't watching it in 3D, so even when you're not watching it in 3D, you can tell what parts were 3D.
Yeah.
And it just kind of messes it up a little bit. So anyway, we're going to move along here.
That's the worst one.
So my number 5 is the bridge collapse.
Okay.
The bridge collapse, which was movie 5, right?
Movie number 5.
And so, I don't know. I wouldn't really consider myself too afraid of bridges. I do have a cousin who is very afraid of bridges. And so I just remember if we ever crossed a bridge, she would sink down into her seat. She, really didn't like them. I'm not really that big of a worrier with bridges. But,
I feel
again,
like we've gotten some bridge collapsings
recently,
right?
Well,
there was the ship that hit the one a couple of years ago, I think.
Well, I don't think it was a collapse. It was just a semi went off of it.
Well, well here, yeah, but like I forget where it was, but a ship like
Oh, yeah, yeah,
ran
yeah.
into a bridge and like
Yeah,
collapsed the whole thing.
that's true.
That was it feels like it was a month ago, but that was probably 2 years ago by now.
Yeah. You know, in this one, in the sequence, they're doing some like construction on the bridge. And so I guess that is supposed to kind of explain the weakening, the weakening structure. I don't really know.
Yeah.
And it's a little unrealistic. The way that it happened, it just like starts to crack and then just all hell breaks loose kind of thing. But, you know, I still liked it a little bit better than the NASCAR scene. So,
Yep. Yep. I'll give it that for sure. Well, my number 5, this may shock you.
it's
when
not
I
the
say
bridge.
this.
I thought we were going to be like, you know,
No,
back.
because I would have jumped in and said it.
I know,
If it
yeah.
was my number 5. Will shock you and a lot of people. It's the plane from the first one.
Nah, that didn't shock me.
It's just very short. It's not very elaborate, and yeah, it's a big one and it's an iconic one for
Yeah.
sure. But it just happens so quickly. You know, I think that there's better, more elaborate ones that come later. So,
Yeah.
the plane is my number 5. It's still good. I
Yeah.
mean, impactful, but yeah, I like the other ones better.
That's
so
fair. That's
put
fair.
it above them.
Okay, let's see here. So my number 4 is the car wreck.
Okay.
You know,
That's
the
that's kind of controversial.
the log truck. Honestly, I want to not like that just because everybody wants to act like it's just superior.
It's been a meme for years though. That
But
log
it's
truck.
just like, I don't know, to me it just kind of has lost its
But the thing is, every time you see a log truck, you think of that movie. Every time you see a plane, you don't think of Final Destination.
That's
because there's other
maybe,
things
yeah.
to think of. But like
Yeah.
every time you see a log truck, like it's almost synonymous with the franchise.
yeah. I don't know. It's you know, number 4 is not bad. We
It's
have
not
some
bad.
good opening sequences here. So I don't know. We rewatched that one. We watched it last year. Was
Yep.
that the one we watched last year? To kind of refresh our memories. And as always, like whenever they do the opening sequence, when it actually happens, it's always much quicker and
the
shorter or
aftermath,
whatever.
yeah. That's always the most ridiculous part.
Yeah.
Except for the plane crash, maybe. I think that was more realistic.
You
but-
know, I think too what it is like car wrecks. Like it's pretty much like car wrecks. Like yeah, there's like this log that falls off and stuff like that. But it's like it almost is a little too like realistic. It's a little too personal. Like car crashes are just very like
Okay.
violent and they happen every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it kind of just
You're
feels a
saying
little.
it's played out because everybody's in a car wreck all the time?
No, I just think that it's a little like insensitive.
I got you.
You know what I mean? I don't
got
know.
you.
Okay.
Well, my number 4 is the bridge collapse. This is a good idea. Like I think it's a good one in terms of like, yeah, most people find themselves on a bridge and stuff. I just don't think it was executed the best. It felt like really small scale. I don't know. I just felt like it could have been like more of a spectacle. Mm-hmm. And it just felt.
Well, we
I don't know.
only really got to see like their little section of the bridge. Like obviously it's very
Yeah.
focused on that, and
Yeah.
they were kind of really on the edge of the bridge anyway. Like they weren't really that far out
Yeah, it
in the
didn't take
middle.
them well, I mean, after the premonition, they like ran like what, 10 feet, and they were at the,
Yeah.
they were at the end of the bridge.
It just didn't seem as like big of a deal as
Yeah, and
like
that
if
one,
you had been like out in the middle and it happened. It just seems like it kind of happened close to the
and all the deaths
land.
did not feel like premonition deaths.
Uh-huh.
If that makes any sense, they felt more like the deaths that would happen after, like the goofy, outlandish deaths that
Yeah.
would happen.
They didn't
Because the
seem like too
premonition deaths
specific.
are usually more realistic. This could happen. This is what would happen in this particular instance.
Yeah.
Maybe you could say the same thing about the fourth one, but this one, they just felt a little bit too goofy and outlandish.
Okay.
Maybe I should have had this one at number 5. Now that I think of it,
Yeah,
but
maybe so.
I do think it's a good idea. It just wasn't executed as the best.
Okay. Okay, so my number 3 is the airplane crash.
Okay.
Yeah. We're not big flyers around here. I've literally
Or we should say the airplane explosion.
yeah,
didn't crash.
the airplane explosion. I've had one flight to and from, and it was a very short flight, an hour. I'm pretty afraid of flying, and I do want to make a trip to Japan. So we'll see if that happens because it's like a 14-hour flight. So yeah, the airplane thing is more so it's like a personal.
We'll have to watch Final Destination when we're on the plane.
That's messed up. I feel like it's more of just like it's a personal fear, and so it really like resonates with me, I guess. But I mean, you're right. Like it is, it's pretty short, and it's not too like crazy. But you have to remember this was the first one, and so it still set the precedent for the movies.
It did.
So
I mean, Devon Sawa's face melting off is pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, people flying out of the plane as it breaks apart, and you can just kind of like, I mean, I don't know about you, but when we just watched it, I do still feel like I could feel myself in there, like thinking about, oh my gosh, like that would just.
I think
be
it's just
awful.
because I watched a lot of like plane action movies recently, like Drop Zone, and I watched Turbulence, and they do a lot of the similar stuff in those.
Yeah.
And so maybe I'm just kind of desensitized to plane violence right now.
That's not true. You're scared to fly too, so don't.
No,
act
I
like...
am. I'm just saying, like in terms of like watching it and thinking it's cool.
Okay.
On screen.
All right.
My number 3 is actually my favorite movie of the franchise. So that just goes to show you how non-biased I'm being with my list, and that's The Roller Coaster.
Yeah.
That's my number 3. I don't know. This one, when it was first announced, like this was the premise that like got me in the theater like opening night to see this movie because I've loved roller coasters my whole life. So. And I was literally like, I remember watching the second one and be like, oh, they should do a roller coaster. Like, why hasn't nobody ever done like a roller coaster disaster in a movie before, at least of what I've seen? And they finally did it. So I thought that was super cool. But rewatching it, I don't think it's the best like executed of the premonitions. You got people kind of just flying everywhere, and I don't know. It's kind of cool. But as we talked about when we were watching it, it lasts way too long. Like a roller coaster is not that long.
Yeah.
So it kind of takes you out of it a little bit. I still enjoy it. Again, it's number 3, but definitely not my favorite.
No. All right. So yeah, I'm already at number 2, and it's the roller coaster.
Okay.
I just you've got some good points. It did, like when we were watching it, it felt like they were on this roller coaster for like 10 minutes. And it's like, if you ride a roller coaster, you know that they're like maybe a minute if you're lucky. Like they're pretty short, But yeah, I don't know. Again, it's just kind of like a personal thing, like riding roller coasters, like amusement parks and stuff. Like I do always think about the rides like falling apart and stuff. And we have an amusement park near us where a girl was riding. It was called a Hellevator, where the ride that takes you up and drops you down. Her legs got cut off from it.
Yeah, and I mean the theme park we just went to a few years ago, I'm not going to call it out, but somebody got decapitated like back in the 90s at this theme park on a roller coaster. So because his thing came undone and he stood up.
Well, I don't know if it came undone. I think I heard that he stood up, but
yeah.
So, I don't know. That has always just been a fear of mine, and so again, I think that's kind of why I just put it up there.
Yeah, I mean, I was waiting for it. Like like I said, I still like the sequence. I still think it's cool. I like the lead up to it. I like them waiting in line. It's just you don't see that a lot in movies. Roller coasters and theme parks and stuff. So
right.
I still think it's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm at my number 2.
You're number 2.
So my number 2 is the Skyview. Is that what it's called? The Skyview restaurant.
It's a
disaster from
Tower Restaurant
from Bloodlines. I really enjoyed this one a lot. I enjoyed the story leading up to it. It made it feel like it had more stakes. I liked all the, there was some character dynamics and stuff in there. I like how they built it up and executed it. I thought it was very well done. So that is my number 2.
Well, I would agree because it is my number 1. We did just see it, so we'll have to see if it stays that way for me.
Yeah.
Or if I'm just kind of, high on the movie right now. But again, I just feel like, obviously it's the newest movie, so it's got, the newest, it's the freshest, I guess, and, the maybe like better effects or something, which we just talked about this in our review. Some people didn't think that it had good CGI and stuff. Anyway, I just feel like it was done really well. Again, I don't know. I just feel like, we've been in like towers like that before. And
I've been at I think it's called the CN Tower in Toronto, and that literally has a see-through glass floor
Yeah.
that I stood on. I remember.
Yeah, it's just for me, like, how effective is it, like, imagining yourself in that position? And it just, it was just very good at, like, building that, like, anticipation of, like, all right, what's going to happen here? And it just, like, it was just so good at, like, building that tension for me.
It felt like a movie within a movie. That's what we said in
You
our
know,
review.
we've got the, you know, getting on the elevator, and it's like getting up there, and then like it just so many layers to it,
Yeah.
and it was just this like unfolding of pure terror.
Yeah, and you wouldn't let me spoil it in our review, but I'm going to spoil it here. I'm going to talk about it here. But like the raining bodies was really, really freaking cool.
Yeah.
And like you see in movies people falling all the time from high places. You don't ever really get to see it from the people on the bottom's point of view.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of cool how they showed that.
Yeah, just again pure terror. So.
Yep,
All
absolutely.
right, what's your number one?
My number one is
I think we know now.
Is the scene you kind of diminished a little bit.
Sorry.
You know, took the thunder out of it, but the highway crash
Yeah.
in part 2. I just think that's the most iconic to the franchise, and I think.
But just because it's iconic doesn't mean that it's the best.
But it's brutal, and it's very like realistic because it could happen to you like at any point in time. Everybody's driving like every single day.
Yeah.
And like every time you use it, like I'm surprised that you put it down so far because like this really, or maybe that's why, but this really plays into your fear because you freak out when you see like semis
Yeah, I hate semis.
on the road and things
Yeah.
like that. So like if you see a log truck in front of you, you're definitely like getting over.
Yeah.
But I do think it was a good idea. I think it was executed very well. I mean, the freaking log that pops up and freaking decapitates that guy in the car. And I don't know if you remember, but there's like bodies burning. I think the practical effects in that sequence are just very well done. So yeah.
Well, there's like one part where like the car like escapes or something, and then it like turns, and then it just something crashes right into him as he's like looking
it's just
right at
very
it.
elaborate, very intricate. It's very goofy. Like after it, and they show it happen in like 2 seconds.
I know, it's always like that, yeah.
But like when the actual premonition's happening, like it is one of the most elaborate like set pieces in any movie. Like there's tons of great action films with very elaborate car crash set pieces, but I think I would put Final Destination 2 up with them. So,
and you know, just to like talking about how they do the like dream sequence or the what do you call it, premonition, and then like it plays out in real life, like they obviously shorten it for a good reason. Like you don't want to watch the same scene all over again. Like that's kind of ridiculous. Even
it just plays a little goofy when you've been sitting through a 15-minute sequence and then it's like it happens in 2 seconds.
Yeah, but you know it makes sense. So I mean, did you have something else to say about it?
No, I'm just going to say I really like that sequence. I would put Final Destination 2 at maybe like 4 on my list, but I think as far as opening sequences, it's number 1.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, so again, you know, these movies are really fun with their opening sequences and their different kills when death is coming for people. And I think it makes it just a really fun topic of discussion.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think all these sequences, except for maybe the NASCAR one, are pretty fun. Like if anybody has them at their number 2, number 1, I wouldn't really argue with you too much.
Yeah,
it's kind of subjective at the end of the day, like what you're afraid of. But
I'd probably change mine tomorrow. So
yeah. I mean, I changed mine while we were talking about it a couple of times. But thank you all so much for watching this video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already for more videos and future content. And also comment down below your thoughts and what's your ranking of premonitions. Leave that in the comment section below, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.